champ now. Yes, I didn't say. What are you looking so sad about, champ?
I'm surprised. I mean, I'm really insulted. That's not right, what you just said.
What do you mean, what I just said?
I mean, I'm getting drink of water. I'm late getting home, but you talk. I said something about the greatest heavyweight champ, man. I'm a hometown man, and you talk about Joe Louis, man. Joe Louis wouldn't be nothing for me. Joe, I tell you, Joe, do you think you would have stood a chance with me?
Well, Clay, one time during my career, I was on a Bomber of the Month tour.
Bomber of the Month? I would have been a bum compared to you.
What's happening, my people? It's Cast Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. Now, as usual, you know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Box Story, bringing you all of that boxing history. Boxing is the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it. Can't get enough of it. Miss Cass, Mike Mazik, Thomas Hill. Salute to everyone and welcome to another episode of Cast Sports, the Box Storian. Today, the life and career of Ronald Winky Wright. How's everybody today? It's Friday, profile day. It's Ronald Winky Wright today. Excuse me. We're going to talk about the life and career of Winky. And for the longest time, I didn't even know what his name was Ronald. You know, that's a good nickname, and you don't even know his real first name. Right, but Ronald Winky Wright today. But first, in the highlights of boxing history, we got a good one today. The highlights of boxing history today will be the Mexico-Puerto Rico boxing rivalry. Okay? First, we're going to look at a little history of the rivalry. Then I got 15 of the greatest fight ever between a Mexican and Puerto Rican. Okay? That's the first one. Well, when the rivalry was supposedly officially started, way back in 1934. But we're going to talk about it. Messed up in the opening because I was getting ready to give a little JBT opening, but I forgot. I'm not part of the JBT anymore, but hey, salute to the great JBT anyway. Okay. But yeah, the Mexico versus Puerto Rico rivalry is going to be the highlights of boxing history today. Let's get started with that. Okay. That'll take us to 2:30-ish. Might be able to run a little over today, but you know, Winky is not a real long one, so we'll be okay. Okay. So now, highlights of boxing history. So we're going to start out taking a look at this Mexico versus Puerto Rico rivalry. That's a good one. Miguel Cotto of Puerto Rico versus Antonio Margarito of Mexico. Let's look at the rivalry. Then we got 15 of the greatest fights ever in the rivalry. Excuse me. Let me get my throat right. Let me take a drink before we get started. I should have a cooler. It's Friday, but I got Mountain Dew. Ran out of coolers, but I'm going to correct that at 4 o'clock. I'm going to remedy that. Liquor store right down the street. But let's get started. That's too much information. I'm sorry. The Boxing Mania podcast in the building. And D1. Hashtag JBT in the building. D1 from the Angry White Man podcast. Oh my goodness. Thank you, D1. I got a typo in the title. 10 p.m. tonight, Friday night. D1 and William Old School ran. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and correct that. Thank you, D1. But yeah, tonight, don't miss it. The Angry White Man podcast at 10 p.m. Great podcast. And then we got the Boxing Mania podcast in the building. What's up, the Boxing Mania podcast? How are you today? We get ready to talk. Well, the show is going to be the life and career of Winky WRIGHT, but we're going to talk about the Mexico-Puerto Rico rivalry for the highlights of boxing history. Like I said, that was a good one. Antonio Margarito from Mexico, Miguel Cotto from Puerto Rico. Al Booger in the building. What's up, AB? AB is going to be at the Stanionis and the Ron Boots Dennis fight tomorrow. Boots and Stanionis. Aunt McQueen's going to be in the house too. Okay. So we're going to be well represented at the fight. On a full report Monday, Al Booger. But salute. Now, the rivalry between Puerto Rican and Mexican boxers is recognized as one of the most intense in boxing history. Probably the most intense between two countries, yeah. Now, it originated in 1934, right? This rivalry has been watched by fans across multiple generations. Now, over the years, both nations have raised numerous fighters who have competed in boxing, right, against each other, including Julio Cesar Chavez, Felix Trinidad, Oscar De La Hoya, Miguel Cotto, and Hector Camacho, just to name a few of them, right? Now, it is said to have started when Sixto Escobar became the first Puerto Rican champion by knocking out Mexican champion Rodolfo Baby Casanova in 1934. And we're going to talk about that fight too. That was supposed to be the official beginning of the Mexico-Puerto Rico rivalry, 1934. Again, it was Sixto Escobar against Rodolfo Baby Casanova. Now, in world title fights, Puerto Rican boxers hold a slight statistical advantage over the Mexican rivals, with Puerto Rico achieving 86 wins compared to Mexico with 73. So Puerto Rico got a 13-win advantage right now, 86 to 73. And that's as of April the 11th, 2025, today. Fights, title fights. Puerto Rico has won 86. In a straight up Puerto Rican against Mexico title fights. The Puerto Rican has won 86 times. The Mexican has won 73 of them. Okay? Mexico a little bit behind there. Okay? But let's continue. The most recent major boxing fight between Mexico and Puerto Rico was a fight for the WBA and WBO minimum weight world championship titles between Oscar Collazo, Puerto Rico, and Edwin Cano, Mexico, which took place on March 29th, 2025. So we up to date. The most recent was just week before, Saturday before last, March 25th. It was a unification fight between Collazo and Cano. Cano won by knockout in round 5, continuing the rivalry. Okay. So the Mexican won this time. Cano stopped Collazo in the 5th round. So now I got 15 of the greatest fights ever in the Mexican-Puerto Rican rivalry history. Let's take a look at them. Then we're going to get on to Winky WRIGHT, Ronald Winky WRIGHT. I'm going to tell you, a lot of people don't know his first name really, Ronald. I had a friend named Ronald WRIGHT, was an avid boxing fan. He's passed away now, but I doubt if he knew Winky WRIGHT's first name. Didn't even know. I didn't know till a couple years ago what his real name was. All I knew was Winky WRIGHT. I knew that was a nickname, but I never knew what his real first name was. Ronald Winky WRIGHT. Okay, let's look at some of these fights we got here. 15 of the greatest, just a little short summaries of them. I'm not going to bore y'all to death. Little short summaries of these fights between Mexican and Puerto Rican fighters. Okay. Now the first one is Felix Trinidad versus Luis Ramon Campos. Felix Trinidad from Puerto Rico, Luis Ramon Campos from Mexico. Okay. September 17th, 1994. It was in the welterweight division. Then a battle of undefeated stars. Trinidad knocked out Campos in a 4-round slugfest. Now coming into this fight, 56-0 with 50 knockouts. Campos made his mark early in the fight by dropping Trinidad in the 2nd round with a crisp left hook. Now you know about Trinidad. You drop Trinidad, you better finish him, because when he gets up, it's on. Then, and sure enough, he got up and stopped Cano in the 4th round. But Trinidad weathered the storm. He got to his feet, kept Campos off of him for the rest of the round, and proceeded to take over the fight by the next round. By round 4, Trinidad had beaten Campos to the ropes and clobbered him with thudding punches that left Campos helpless. And the referee, Richard Steele, stopped it. Told you, if you drop Tito, you better finish him. Because when he gets up, it's pretty much over for you. He was that kind of fighter. It took a knockdown to get him going. And see, he got up and stopped this guy. Next one is Orlando Salido versus Juan Manuel Lopez. Not Marquez, Lopez. Juan Manuel Lopez. There they are. Those are my worst 2 images because I couldn't find them on their phone, so you know. But here we go. Yeah. This was April 18th, 2011 in Puerto Rico. This fight was in Puerto Rico. It was at featherweight, 126. Now the rugged Salido handed Juan Manuel Lopez his first loss as a pro. in front of the Puerto Rican's flabbergasted home crowd by outslugging the hard-hitting Lopez over the course of a torrid fight. Yes, Toledo was the Mexican and Lopez from Puerto Rico. Now, Toledo weathered Lopez's sharp blows to land his own sharper, more damaging shots for most of the fight. The Mexican knocked Lopez to the canvas in round 5, and by round 8, he was practically landing his punches at will. Referee Roberto Ramirez Jr. halted the action. When it appeared Lopez was out on his feet. Okay. Next was a biggie. Miguel Cotto of Puerto Rico versus Antonio Margarito from Mexico. Okay. Petey Rican. What's up, Petey Rican? How are you today? He said Winky WRIGHT was a feared man. The USA wouldn't give him a shot. He went to Europe, he sure did. And it's very fitting that Petey Rican is in because we talk about the Mexico-Puerto Rican rivalry. And Petey Rican didn't even know that because the title is about Winky. Isn't that fitting? Yeah, we talk about the Mexico-Puerto. This is just the highlights of boxing history we do for like the first 30 minutes every day. But welcome, Petey Rican. Hope I'm saying your name right. Ray Patterson, straight out of New Jersey. What's up, RP? You going to that fight tomorrow, RP? It's up there in your neck of the woods in AC. We already got 2 people going, Al Booker and Ed McQueen. Let's see if RP is going. Okay, the next fight is 10-9-8. Yeah, Cotto and Margarito. This was a big one here. This was 2. This was the second one. I got both of them. I don't know why I put the second one first. That was crazy. No, this is one. Yeah, this is one. The one where Margarito busted Cotto up with those illegal hand wraps. Yeah, this is one. First one. Okay. July 26, 2008 in Las Vegas. Now, it was a savage welterweight, at welterweight, it was a savage welterweight slugfest that has since become one of the most controversial fights in boxing history. Now, Cotto was undefeated coming into the fight, but Margarito was a legitimate threat to the pound-for-pound star because he was larger and Margarito was very strong, bigger than Cotto and strong. Now, the fight was hotly contested until Margarito's volume punching started to turn the fight in the second half of the contest. By round 11, a bloody and weary Cotto was in full retreat mode. He took a knee after a Margarito combination and rose to his feet, only to see his corner throw in the towel moments later as Margarito continued to punish him. However, in his very next fight, Margarito was forced to rewrap his hands after his opponent's camp noticed a plaster-like appearance within them, having some to wonder if his win over Cotto was fought fair and clean. In that fight, that was Nassim Richardson, Shane Mosley's trainer, that made him rewrap his hands. Yeah, it was going up against Shane, and Shane beat the brakes off of him. Yeah, that was crazy. Margarito was cheating. Okay, next we got Sixto Escobar. This was the original beginning of the Puerto Rico-Mexican rivalry, okay? Sixto Escobar from Puerto Rico versus Rodolfo Baby Casanova from Mexico, 1934. The official beginning of the rivalry. Probably should have saved this one for last or first, but hey. June 26, 1934, Montreal, Canada. Now, 77 years before the first Cotto-Margarito fight, Escobar stopped Casanova to perhaps lay the groundwork to the historic boxing rivalry between the two countries. Now, this fight was largely one-sided, as the skilled Escobar dominated the fight with his superior arsenal and prolific power. Now, the win netted Escobar the honor of becoming the first Puerto Rican champion in the official beginning of the Puerto Rico-Mexican rivalry. Now, Casanova, on the other hand, was brave in defeat. The Mexican rose to his feet in round 3 after suffering the first knockdown of his career and continued his efforts to win the fight until he was brutally walloped to the canvas by Escobar's left hook, right uppercut combination to end the fight. Yep, to end things. What was the 5th round, right? Yeah, no, round 9. 9th round knockout by the Puerto Rican Sixto Escobar. Won that one. Okay. Yeah, way back for that. The next one. Wilfredo Gomez from Puerto Rico versus Lupe Pintor of Mexico. And this fight was December 3rd, 1982 at the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. Now, in a classic matchup between flashy boxer and unrelenting slugger, Gomez outlasted Pintor to defend his junior welterweight title for the 17th and final time of his illustrious career. Now, Pintor was relentless in pressuring Gomez. The rugged hurler charged toward Gomez until the very end of the fight. Now, both men took a beating, but it was ultimately Gomez who took the win. In round 14, Gomez utilized devastating hooks to drop Pintor twice before referee Arthur Mercante stopped it. The legendary Arthur Mercante. Probably the greatest referee of all time, Arthur Mercante, yeah. Okay, we got another. It was a very confrontational lead up to this one here. It's Julio Cesar Chavez from Mexico versus Evan Rosario from Puerto Rico. Very confrontational lead up to this fight. This fight was in Las Vegas, and Rosario told Chavez at I think it was the final press conference, that he was going to send him back to Mexico in a coffin. Okay? Just okay. And that's how the lead up was. Now, the measuring stick by which every Mexican fighter who came after him is now judged. Chavez was at his peak when he thrashed Rosario in 1987. Thrashed him, right? The win earned the relentless Chavez his 56th straight win and second world title. He still had like 30 more to go before he would lose. That was just 56. What was it, 87? Still had 30 more wins to go before his first loss. This was his 56th. It was Chavez's first foray into the lightweight division, making him a 2-division champion. Now, Chavez was a prototypical Mexican fighter. He pressured Rosario and hurt him with hooks to the head and body until Rosario was virtually defenseless. Rosario's corner threw in the towel in round 11 after Chavez had trapped their fighter in the corner to ruthlessly batter him. So I guess he didn't go back to Mexico in a coffin. Looked like Rosario damn near went back to Puerto Rico in the coffin. He took a beating. You know, I mean, it's already a rough sport and the fighter's pumped up enough. Why run your mouth and just give a fighter more incentive to beat your ass? You know what I mean? But hey, it's part of, I guess, trash talking. But the next one, we have, I keep hitting the wrong button, man. I'm going to be the end of the whole entire live in a moment. Okay, next we got Wilfredo Gomez from Puerto Rico versus Carlos Zarate from Mexico. Oh, there's Define. All my people coming in. Define Arnie 1 from Puerto Rico Get it fine on anyone. I'm glad you came early today because we got the Mexico versus Puerto Rico rivalry going on right now. And guess what, you fine on anyone? In championship fights, Puerto Rico leads it 86-73. The last one was last Saturday before last. Collazo and Cano was the most recent addition of this rivalry 2 weeks ago. So we up to date, and Puerto Rico leads 86-73 in championship fights. But salute the fine on one. Then we got, and of course, the Kensaw Love One in the building. You know Jerome Hattie is in the building. So salute. Fine on one. Kensaw Love One. And Jerome Hattie. Okay, let's continue with the Mexico-Puerto Rico rivalry. Okay, we got Wilfredo with Carlos Durante from Mexico. Okay, this fight took place October 28th, 1978, Coliseo Roberto Clemente in Puerto Rico. Okay, now Gomez defeated Durante by a round 5 knockout. This was at junior featherweight. What's that, 122? Right, yeah. Now, probably his country's greatest all-time boxer, Gomez delivered in a big way against the dangerous Durante to defend his junior featherweight crown against a hard-hitting, long-time bantamweight king. Yeah, I would agree with that. Gomez being the number one from Puerto Rico, but it's a lot of right behind him. It's a very, very hard choice. Now, Durante was undefeated coming into this fight. You know, between the two fighters come a record, now get this, a combined record of 73 wins, no losses, 1 draw. And the biggest stat, 72 knockouts between them. Between these two fighters had fought 73 times combined. Only one person had went the distance against each other. Okay? 73-0 and 1, well, 2 because they had a draw. But 73-0 and 1 was 72 knockouts. I gotta know that knockout rate. This is combined between Durante and Gomez. That's just crazy. That knockout ratio is 98.6. You can't get no more closer to 100 than that. But these two fighters, 73-0 and 1 with 72 knockouts between them combined. Only 2 men that went the distance with them in 74 fights because they had a draw. Okay, now, yeah. Durante was undefeated coming into the fight and had won all but one of his fights by knockout. The loss between the two was Gomez. But Gomez was too much for the Mexican. Gomez's faster hands and more athletic body allowed him to completely dominate Durante until the fight was finally halted by the referee Harry Gibbs in round 5. Gomez, the Puerto Rican, got that one. Okay. But two great fighters. The next one, Felix Trinidad from Puerto Rico versus Fernando Vargas of Mexico. And there's Kensaw Love One. Kensaw Love One showing love with the super chat. Kensaw Love One always supporting. Appreciate you, Kensaw Love One. 1,000,000%. Appreciate you, Kensaw Love One. Felix Trinidad from Puerto Rico versus Fernando Vargas from Mexico. Okay, now this one, December 2nd, 2000, at Las Vegas, the Mandalay Bay. Now, after dropping Vargas twice in the opening round, Trinidad appeared to be on his way to an early stoppage win, but Vargas battled back and managed to drop Trinidad in round 4. Big mistake, Fernando. Now, the fight was brutal carnage from that point forward, as each man tried his best to deliver the knockout. Eventually, it was Trinidad who captured the desired outcome. He knocked Vargas down 3 times in the 12th round to force referee Jay Nady to stop the fight, earning an outstanding victory in a slugfest of epic proportions. Yeah, that was a good one. That was very fan-friendly. Tito and Fernando, woo-wee. I might watch that again today. Yeah, I gotta go get some popcorn. But anyway, the next one. Jose Luis Ramirez from Mexico versus Edwin Rosario of Puerto Rico. I keep hitting the wrong button. In case I in the chat, I'll tell y'all ahead of time. See y'all Monday. Keep hitting buttons, man. Okay, now who was next? That's still Felix and Fernando. Jose Luis Ramirez of Mexico versus Edwin Rosario from Puerto Rico. God damn, I did it again. Puerto Rico. Rosario. There you go. That's Rosario on the left and Ramirez with his back to us. Now this fight took place on November the 3rd, 1984. November 3rd, 1984. Okay? And it was at in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Hiram Bithorn Stadium. Lightweight division. Now, this was a rematch, right? In the rematch after a hotly contested first fight, I think I got the first fight later. I don't know why I did that, but yeah. In the rematch after a hotly contested first fight a year before, Ramirez and Rosario put on a show in 1984. Rosario appeared to be on his way to another win. The Puerto Rican looked to add to his close decision victory with a knockout this time around, as he floored Ramirez in the first and second rounds. But Ramirez remained undeterred. He pressed forward, caught Rosario with a right hand in round 3, and slugged his way to an impressive round 4 knockout win. Ramirez got up off from 2 knockdowns and got the knockout. Knocked down in round 1 and round 2, and he got the knockout in round 3. Now here is a classic. This is a classic, man, between 2 great stars here. Salvador Sanchez of Mexico versus Wilfredo Gomez of Puerto Rico. This Gomez looks like he's going down. Okay? This was Gomez that came up to challenge Salvador at featherweight, but Wilfredo was making his mark at 122 at that time. He went back down, but he came up. This was his first fight at 126. Came up to challenge what do they say? Try to make himself great or whatever they say. But he fell a little short. It was August 21st, 1981. Caesar's Palace, Las Vegas. Caesar's Palace, Las Vegas. Sanchez Gomez is the standard bearer for all Mexico versus Puerto Rico fights. Both men threw punches at a blistering pace. The undefeated Gomez was resilient after he was floored in round 1, hurling himself into the action from that moment forward. But the larger, smoother Sanchez proved too strong for Gomez. Sanchez landed thudding right hands in round 8 to stop his opponent, who bravely had risen to his feet after the knockout before referee Carlos Padilla waved it off. Yeah, Carlos Padilla waved that one off. Yeah. We just got a couple more. Bear with me for one moment. Memento. Okay. Now where are we? Okay. I keep doing that, man. I'm going to end the show. I keep going up there around in stream. I keep having to say no because it actually, are you sure? I don't know why. Okay, the next fight is, who do we have next? It was Julio Cesar Chavez. Chavez, no. Yeah. If I can find it. Okay, Julio Cesar Chavez and Hector Camacho. Well, how could I forget this one? This was a big one. Yeah, Chavez and the Macho Man JCC versus Macho. Okay? Now, when it comes to Mexican fighters, there's JCC at Mexico, Macho at Puerto Rico. When it comes to Mexican fighters, there are simply none better than Julio Cesar Chavez. He was never better than on this night against Camacho. On September 12, 1992, Chavez defended his WBC title against the WBO junior welterweight champion from Puerto Rico, Hector Macho Camacho. Now, both men were brash and predicted spectacular wins, but for Chavez, it wasn't just bluster. Chavez entered the ring undefeated at 81-0, while Camacho was 41-1, and held notable wins over Greg Hargan, Benny Pazienza, and Ray Mancini. Now, Chavez was simply dominant on this night, punishing Camacho to the body early and winning virtually every round. In fact, he did win every round on one judge's scorecard, winning by scores of 120-107, 119-110, and 117-111. He had a shutout. Basically, pretty much, he did get, Camacho got like 2 rounds on one card, but yeah, basically a shutout. Mm-hmm. Next, we have, jumping around a little bit now. But how's everybody? It's Friday. We got the big one tomorrow, Jerome Booth Sanders and Amanda Stanley. Oh, that is going to be a very, very, very entertaining fight. Very fan-friendly. Yeah. But we got Felix Trinidad of Puerto Rico versus Yuri Boy Campos from Mexico. Okay? Just got a couple more. Then we're going to get to, oh man, I forgot who the profile was on. It's right there in front of you. Winky WRIGHT. Winky WRIGHT. But now, Felix Trinidad of Puerto Rico versus Yuri Boy Campos from Mexico. Now, few people remember how fearsome a fighter Luis Ramon Yuri Boy Campos was in his prime. In 1994, when he stepped into the ring with Puerto Rican welterweight champion Felix Tito Trinidad, Campos was already drawing comparisons to the already legendary Julio Cesar Chavez. Now, at the time, the comparison seemed perfectly justified. Campos was 56-0 with 50 knockouts and had devastating power. Now, despite Trinidad's reputation as one of the top young fighters in the sport, the fight was considered 50-50 by most observers going into the fight. And Campos looked like he was going to live up to that reputation, dropping Trinidad in the second round. See, like Tito always got dropped early. Now, Campos pressed his advantage and badly hurt Tito again in the third round before getting hit by a low blow, stopping the action. And this gave Trinidad crucial seconds to recover from being hurt, something that would become a trend in his career. Soon after time in was called, Campos again shook Trinidad with a huge uppercut. And again, Trinidad went low, drawing a point deduction this time. Now, Trinidad now became even more aggressive on the inside, but Campos continued working the body. The end came suddenly in the fourth round after a furious exchange. Trinidad opened up and landed a punch that snapped Campos's head so far back, it looked like it would detach from his body. It was a spectacular and brutal ending to a great fight. Yeah, Tito got him up out of there with that punch. It's got a couple more. Okay. Yeah, we just got like 2 more. The next one is Oh, that went right past it. We got Evan Rosario from Puerto Rico versus Jose Luis Ramirez from Mexico. There you go. That's Rosario facing us again. Same picture. Different. I mean, these are different fights, but I use the same picture from the same fight. It's the same 2 people. Don't nobody say nothing. Yeah. Okay. Evan Rosario faced Mexico's Jose. Now this was the first fight. I think I had the second fight first. Now Evan Rosario faced Mexico's Jose Luis Ramirez for the vacant WBC lightweight championship after Alexis Arguello vacated and moved up in weight. Because Arguello never lost any of his 3 titles in the ring. He always vacated and moved up, but he never got that 4th one. There was a highly competitive fight with Rosario dominating the early rounds and Ramirez coming on late. Now the fight was very close and hard fought on both sides. Rosario clearly won most, if not all, of the first 7 rounds, but he faded badly coming down the stretch, and this gave Ramirez opportunities to score points and close the gap. But it wasn't enough, as Rosario would win by unanimous decision and on 3, 115, 113 scorecards, all 3 judges. Ramirez would win the rematch by knockout. Yeah, this was the first one. I did the second one first. That was backwards. Remember, Ramirez knocked Rosario out the other time. Yeah, that was crazy. But hey, that was my mistake. I make like one mistake. That was my only mistake 2025. Next one is again, this is the other fight between Cotto and Margarito. Now I got this right because this is the second one. Wait a minute. That ain't them. Wait a minute. Houston, we have a problem. It's supposed to be 8. It's number 8 is I just did Rosario and Lopez. I think I got out of order, but let's just do this. Finish it off. Number 9. This one is Miguel Cotto, Antonio Margarito. I don't know where the picture is at. Yeah, I used the same picture from, there it is, from the first time. There they go. Yeah, this is the second fight between these two. Now remember, the first one, Margarito had those illegal hand wraps and cheated and got the win, but Cotto got this one. He said this was the most satisfying win of his career, winning that rematch against Margarito. And Terrell Cameron is in the building. What's up, Terrell? We're going to get on the Winky WRIGHT in like 5 minutes. Just got one more after this. We was covering the Mexico versus Puerto Rico rivalry in the highlights of boxing history. So we ran past 2:30, but Winky is not a real long one. So, yeah. And if we have time at the end, we're going to look at a little history of boxing in Mexico and Puerto Rico, just a little brief history. But Cotto, Margarito 2. Now the rematch was pure revenge, nothing more, nothing less, just revenge. Cotto of Puerto Rico, Margarito of Mexico. Cotto had been stopped by Antonio Margarito 3 years earlier, a fight which in retrospect has become highly questionable. Margarito in his next fight against Shane Mosley was discovered to be wrapping loaded gloves, loaded hand wraps. Now, the plaster-like substance would have hardened as the fight went on and added great force to its punches. Eddie Fine Arnie made that point the other day as he fighting and his hands getting sweaty inside those gloves. That substance getting harder and harder. That's why you notice Margarito's punching power got greater as the fight went on. That's because that plaster was hardening in there. A great point from Fine Arnie 1. Now, this led many to speculate that Margarito, who had rearranged Cotto's face in their first fight, had also cheated to beat the Puerto Rican star, because that was the fight right before they discovered that stuff in his hand wraps, remember? Now, the rematch in December of 2011 was really pointless, other than Cotto's desire to right what he felt was a wrong perpetrated against him. Now, Margarito came into the fight as a villain, straight out of a Hollywood movie, fighting Cotto in New York's Madison Square Garden in front of an extremely hostile crowd. We'll never know whether Margarito did indeed cheat in their first fight, but Cotto beat him up just the same in the rematch. Cotto said, I'm saying you cheated. He badly hurt Margarito's previously injured eye, swelling it nearly shut and forcing the doctor to advise referee Steve Smoger to halt the contest after the 9th round. Yakoto got his revenge. And he has said many times that was the best, most satisfying fight of his career. And finally, Jorge Arce from Mexico versus Wilfredo Vasquez from Puerto Rico. That's Arce on the left, Vasquez on the right. Salute, Terrell Cameron. Good to see you today. Yeah. Okay, final one. Now, this one was a major upset. Most figured that Mexican warrior Jorge Arce was done as a top-level fighter when he stepped into the ring to challenge WBO Super Bantamweight champion Wilfredo Vasquez Jr. of Puerto Rico in 2011. Now, Vasquez was defeated and on the rise. Now, Vasquez was undefeated and on the rise, while Arce, most felt, had just been through too many wars. But that's why fights happen in the ring and not on paper. Arce, as it turned out, was far from done, engaging in a war with Vasquez from the opening bell to the end of the fight. Vasquez dropped Arce in the 4th round, but the Mexican rose and didn't change his style one bit. Each round was full of dramatic exchanges, with both fighters laying out some serious leather. They wasn't trying to go 12 rounds. Neither one of them. As the fight went on, it appeared that Arce was more comfortable with the blistering pace, as Vasquez began to tire. He looked particularly spent after the 11th round. Still got one more though, Vasquez. Now Arce, sensing an opening, went for broke at the start of the final round. He pinned Vasquez against the rope and threw everything at him, including the kitchen sink. He threw the kitchen sink at him too, and at least one of 2 plates, forcing a corner stoppage. Threw the kitchen sink and a plate at him, and he got the stop. Okay, let's get ready to talk about Ronald Winky WRIGHT. Ronald Winky WRIGHT. Okay. But how's everyone? It's Friday. Got another one of 2025's big ones tomorrow. Ron Bootsenis. Immense Stanionis. I'm looking for a great fight, man. A great fight. It's not going to, a lot of people think it's like wide in Boots' favor, but no, not really. Stanionis is fully capable of winning this thing. Okay? So we will see. Like this other thing just said, that's why they fight the fights in the ring and not on paper, right? So we will see tomorrow, just to wake up away. Aunt McQueen, Al Booger going to be in the house at AC tomorrow, Atlantic City, New Jersey. Okay, let's get started with Ronald Winky WRIGHT. Okay, I already had Winky in here, but now I can't find him. There he is right there. Okay, Winky, let's go. Lights, camera, action. The life and career of Ronald Winky WRIGHT. Okay, Ronald Lamont Winky WRIGHT. He was born November 26, 1971. Okay? He competed from 1990 to 2012, had a 22-year career. He's a 2-time junior middleweight world champion, and he was the last to hold the undisputed title at that weight until Jermell Charlo did it in 2022. In his later career, Winky was 3-belt. In his later career, Winky also challenged for a unified middleweight world championship. He announced his retirement from boxing in 2012 following a loss to Peter Quillin. Okay? Now, Winky was 5'10" tall. Okay, he had a reach of 73 inches. Incredible reach. Winky could put up that high guard. You know how some fighters, you're in the high guard, they hit you in the body to bring your hands down. Or they hit you in the head to bring your hands up so they can get to the body. Not Winky. Winky in that high guard, he got the head and body covered. That's how long his arms was. Okay? In the high guard, Winky got the head and body covered. Only place you can hit him is low. Okay, yeah, but Winky, seriously, he had the head and body covered in the high guard. Now, Winky had 58 total. He had a reach of 73 inches, I told you that. Fought out of the southpaw stance. He had a total of 58 fights in his career. He won 51, lost 6. He had 1 draw, and he won 25 by knockout. Okay? 25 by the knockout route for Winky. In 2005, the Ring magazine ranked Winky as the world's second best active boxer, pound for pound. Okay? In 2017, it was announced that Winky had been elected as an International Boxing Hall of Fame member, right? In the modern category. He went in with Vitaly Klitschko and Eric Morales, with the induction ceremony scheduled for June 2018. That was a great class. Winky, Vitaly Klitschko, and Eric Morales, yeah. They went in 2018. Yeah, that was a great class. Let's get into his career now, professional career. Was a Winkster. Ronald Winky Wright. Okay? Okay, let me check. Anybody come in? What's going on in the chat? YouTube be playing games. They got 6 likes, and that's the 6 I give myself. I know at least one person to hit the like. They be playing games. 6 likes. I give myself 6 likes, you know, with my grandchildren and children and everybody's phones. Before I even started, I'm still on 6. What kind of game are they playing, man? Reason nobody hit the like. And I ain't saying another word. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Okay. Professional career for Winky. The early years. After his second round knockout of Carlos Santana on July 30th, 1992 in St. Petersburg, Florida, the Ring magazine and the Ring announcer called him Winky Wright, the name given to him by his grandmother when he was 6 months old, and that it unofficially stuck with him since he was 18 months old. Given to him by his grandmother when he was 6 months old. Wow, I never knew where that nickname came from. Okay. Now, the nickname stuck with him for the rest of his career, following his win over Santana. Now, what made that ring announcer call him Winky? I don't know. Okay. Was it the Let's Get Ready to Rumble man? I don't know. Probably was. Now, major promoters like Don King and Lou Duva declined to work with Winky early in his career. His first promoters were the France-based Ackridge brothers, who struck a deal for Winky to fight Daryl Lattimore in Luxembourg, Germany on January 1st, 1993. Now, Wright knocked Lattimore out. He knocked him down 3 times and the fight was stopped. He then went on a tear during his tour of Europe, winning 8 straight in France, Germany, and Monte Carlo, while only fighting in the United States once over the next year. Yeah, a lot of his early fights were across the pond. Don King and Lou Duva, the Godfather, them there. I don't know why they wouldn't fool with Winky. Yeah. But yeah, they didn't. Okay, first, let's talk about Winky's first title shot. On August 21st, 1994, Winky received his first title shot against WBA junior middleweight champion Julio Cesar Vasquez in St. Jean de Lux, France. Now, although he was 25-0 at the time, Winky had not fought in a fight that had gone more than 8 rounds. His inexperience showed as he lost unanimous decision in controversial fashion, with Vasquez knocking down Wright in the 2nd, 7th, and 9th rounds, and twice in the 12th round. Now, Winky officially slipped 3 times, and unofficially another 4 times, while also appearing to win all but 1 round on points. Yeah, but they went against Winky. Yeah, very controversial fight. That one was. That was his first title shot, too. Now, on February 4th, 1995, Winky defeated Tony Marshall by unanimous decision to win the vacant North American Boxing Federation junior middleweight title. That was a secondary title by that used to be a big one back in the day when fighters used to clamor for that NABF, but by 1995, it was a secondary one. The big ones was the IBF, WBA, WBC. Then WBO was still secondary, was started because the other 3 wasn't recognizing it yet. Okay, but it was bigger than the NABF. Okay, now, ongoing world tour and winning the WBO title. That was his first title, the WBO. Now, Winky continued fighting in Europe, only fighting in the United States once, until his unanimous decision victory against Andrew Council on March 5th, 1996. Now, his impressive win opened the door to fight WBO junior middleweight champion Bronco McCart, a fight Winky won by split decision. Okay? So he successfully defended his title in England 3 times, twice in Manchester against local fighters Ainsley Bingham and Steve Foster, okay, and Adrian Dodson in London. So he's over there in England beating these English fighters. So he must have been beating them convincingly, because you know how they do over there. They'll cheat you in a minute. Okay, so after fighting the 3 English guys and beating them in England, Winky traveled to South Africa, where he lost his world title in controversial circumstances to the undefeated Harry Simon. After a very close contest, the fight was initially ruled a draw, then moments later changed to a majority decision for Simon due to an apparent scoring error. That's when they went over and told the judge, "I paid you to get at the Simon. What you mean a draw?" So the judge had to change it because he'd already got the envelope for cheating. So, they had to change it. That's what happened. Yeah. That's exactly what happened. How you gonna call it a draw, then moments later change it to give it to the other guy, Simon, right? The South African guy, right? I thought it was a draw. Then moments later, Simon wins it. Okay, but anyway. So now he's getting ready to start fighting in the United States. Winky stopped working with the Curry's brothers in 1999, stating that he was tired. He was tired of all the traveling. He went on to knock out Derek Graham in the 3rd round in Miami, Florida. Winky then challenged IBF junior middleweight champion Fernando Vargas. Now, although some ringside fans and members of the media felt that Winky had done enough to win the fight, Vargas ended up getting a controversial majority decision. Now, Harold Letterman, a ringside boxing broadcaster for HBO, whose job is to unofficially score fights, scored the fight 115-113 for Winky. Oh, Winky probably lost. If Harold Letterman had it for Winky, Fernando probably won, because Harold Letterman don't know. I'm glad he's just a scorer for the network, because Harold Letterman, he be all over the place, man. But he had it for Winky. So Fernando Vargas probably won, So Winky continued to defend his NABF and won the USBA junior middleweight title in another decision over Bronco McCart, another minor title. but he got it from the same guy he got the NABF from, Bronco McCart. Yeah, USBA, United States Boxing Association. The NABF is the North American Boxing Federation. Both of those used to be big-time titles at one point, but now, by the 90s, they were both secondary. So now, he gets the IBF championship. Let's talk about that. IBF title. Felix Trinidad's jump to the middleweight division left the IBF junior middleweight title vacant. And Winky scored a unanimous decision over Robert Frazier on October 12, 2001 to win the vacant title. In his first defense on February 2, 2002, Winky stopped Jason Papillion in the 5th round. He took a third fight against Bronco McCart, which added in controversy as the referee disqualified McCart for repeated low blows in the 8th round. Remember, McCart was the guy who took those 2 secondary titles from. Wouldn't it have been ironic if McCart would have took his major title from Winky? But McCart got disqualified for low blows in the 8th round of that fight. So Winky retains his IBF title. He did have the WBO, but he lost that in South Africa, remember? When it was a draw, but all of a sudden they changed it from a draw to gave it to Simon, mysteriously. Okay. Winky versus Shane Mosley, 1 and 2. Winky versus Mosley, 1 and 2. Let's be hot. We're just going to. Now, to the surprise of many, including Winky, Shane Mosley challenged Winky to a junior middleweight unification title fight on March 13, 2004. Now, Mosley was a celebrated fighter coming off his second win against Oscar De La Hoya and was looking for a tune-up fight to prepare for a super fight with Felix Trinidad. Now, Shane had stated that he wanted to fight the winner of the fight between Winky and Angel Hernandez. Now, Winky, being the winner, earned the fight with Shane Mosley. Now, Winky was a 4-1 underdog coming into the fight with Mosley. During the fight, Winky pressed his will early on and discouraged Mosley with his size, effectively jabbing and defense, right? Now, Winky won a lopsided unanimous decision, unifying his IBF title with Shane's lineal, ring, WBC, and WBA titles to become undisputed junior middleweight champion. And remember, in the opening week, I told you Winky was the last undisputed junior middleweight champion before Jamel did it in 2022, right? Winky was 3-belt, but the last undisputed middleweight champion before Jamel Charlo in 2022. They still got me at 6 lights. My own 6 lights. Okay, Winky versus Trinidad. Winky versus Felix Trinidad. Excuse me. On May 14th, 2005, with Winky once again playing the underdog role, he easily defeated Felix Trinidad by unanimous decision. Now, Winky credits his fight as his greatest achievement in his career, as he earned the respect and fan base of many that Felix Trinidad had behind him. He said that was the biggest moment of his career, beating Tito. Now, Trinidad was a fan favorite and a feared power puncher, and many figured he would be able to stop Winky, right? But Winky's signature style, defense, and piston-like jab was too much for the Puerto Rican hero, as Trinidad was having trouble landing punches throughout the fight against Winky. Now, 2 judges had the fight 119-108 for Winky, and the third had it 120-107, a shutout. I mean, he was a heavy underdog against Trinidad. Everybody thought Felix was going to stop him. And listen to this, 120-107, a shutout. 119-108, 1 round, 11 rounds to 1. And the other one had it, 2 of them had it 119-108, gave Felix Tito Trinidad 1 round. And the third judge didn't give Tito any rounds. Yeah, Winky just beat him bad. As a result of his dominant victory over such a highly regarded opponent, many placed Wright among the top pound-for-pound boxers in the world. His victory over Trinidad would send Trinidad into his second retirement, and Trinidad stayed in that retirement for 3 years. After the ass whipping from Winky, Tito, he was like, Teofimo, do I have it anymore? Because Winky put something on it. Wow. Okay. So now, Trinidad Wright was also a WBC middleweight eliminator, giving Winky a shot at undisputed middleweight champion Jermaine Taylor for his titles. Because remember, Jermaine was 4-belt undisputed by then. We took him from B-Hop. The WBO was being recognized as one of the big major titles by that point. So this gave him a shot at Jermaine Taylor. Now, following his win over Trinidad, Arthur De La Hoya approached Wright with a $6 million offer, plus an additional $6 pay-per-view buy above 600,000 homes. However, Winky declined to fight. He said he offers everyone else $10, $6 million. I said $6. I meant Oscar offered Winky $6 million, right? And Winky turned it down. Winky said Oscar offers everyone else $10 or $15 million, right? Winky said, referring to the $10 million Trinidad received for fighting Oscar in 1999. Winky said, I ain't doing it, right? And Winky also declined an offer to face Floyd Mayweather during that time, insisting on a 50-50 split. Winky has everything to lose, but nothing to gain, Wright's promoter Gary Shaw stated. Mayweather has nothing to lose and everything to gain. Yeah, Floyd was up and coming at that time. Winky wanted a 50-50. Okay, but Floyd wasn't trying to do that, so Winky declined. So the middleweight title shot, right? He had earned the shot against Taylor with that good performance against Tito. Remember? Yeah, go up there by in stream again. Okay. Middleweight title shot. Winky and Jermaine Taylor. Okay. Now, after winning a unanimous decision over Sam Solomon, it's December 2005, Winky faced off against undisputed middleweight champion Jermaine Taylor. This was 4-belt undisputed by that point. This fight was on June 17, 2006, at the FedEx Forum in Memphis, Tennessee, for the lineal, the ring, WBC, WBO titles. So what happened to the IBF and the WBA? Jermaine was undisputed, but it was only for the WBC, WBO ring, and lineal. Okay. In a very close fight, the fight was ruled a draw. 2 judges scored the fight, 115, 113, each fighter getting one. And the third judge scored it 114, 114, a split draw. So Jermaine kept his titles. Now, both camps attempted at negotiating a rematch, but talks failed after neither side could agree on how to split the money. A problem attributed to Wright's insistence on parity and Taylor's reluctance to give 50-50 to a challenge. So they couldn't decide on the split. So they didn't have the rematch. I had a rematch written all over. 115, 113 for each, and 114, 114, but they didn't do it. Couldn't agree on the money. Now Winky returned to defeat Ike Cortez at middleweight by a unanimous 12-round decision in St. Petersburg Times Forum in Tampa, Florida, in December 2006. 2 judges scored the fight 117-110 for Winky, and one had it 117-109, all for Winky. So now he goes up against Bernard Hopkins. Winky versus B-Hop. Oh wow! I finally got him actually a picture of him actually fighting somebody that we're talking about. I stopped trying to match him up. I just show images as we go through. But they're beautiful images, aren't they? Hopkins versus Wright. Now, Winky's next fight came against Bernard Hopkins at a catch weight of 170 pounds. He went way up there because he was at middleweight. Remember, he went over to 170 catch weight on July 21st, 2007. Now, this fight aired on HBO pay-per-view. Now, in the early rounds of the fight, there was no love lost as Hopkins outpointed Winky until a clash of heads, ruled intentional by Hopkins, left a deep gash over Wright's eyebrow, leading to Winky becoming the aggressor in the fight. Now fighting with a sense of urgency, Winky gave Hopkins problems due to his tight defense, guarding the cut and landing combinations from the outside. Okay? Now B-Hop seemed to stick through the pressure and flush combinations, targeting the bloody eye. Hopkins won by a unanimous decision on the judges' scorecards, 116, 112, 117, 111 twice. Now, it was Winky's first loss in 8 years, right? In the post-fight interview, Winky was asked why he took the fight. He responded by saying, "I wanted to show everybody that I'm the best fighter out there, regardless of weight. If I fight the best, then I'll be the best." That's right, Winky. Tell them about it. Okay, let's get to it, to Winky's later years. Okay? Now, Winky ended a 21-month layoff when he faced former welterweight title holder Paul the Punisher Williams in a middleweight fight at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, April 2009. Now, Winky lost by decision. 2 judges scored the fight, 119-109 for Williams, while the third scored 120-108 for Williams. Yeah, Williams beat him widely. Winky won only the 5th round on 2 judges' cards, while the third judge scored all the rounds for Paul Williams. After several failed attempts to stay active after the one-sided beating by Williams, Winky decided to get surgery on his knee and during his inactivity. Then in the summer of 2010, Winky's most recent attempt were to get fights with middleweight champion Sergio Martinez, who knocked out Williams, and also a 160-pound fight with Kelly Pavlik. He, however, unsuccessfully landed a fight with contender Grady Brewer. Didn't get the fight with Martinez. He fought Grady Brewer on December 11th, 2009 in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Winky and Brewer were ready and set to do battle until weeks before the fight. The promoters shut the pay-per-view matchup down due to poor ticket sales, so that didn't happen. On November 16th, 2010, it surfaced on the internet that Winky's grandmother, Murray Dorsey, had died on November 3rd, and Winky was raised by his grandmother, remember? I don't know, well, we didn't really cover his early life, but he was raised by his grandmother, okay? And then she passed away in 2010. Murray Dorsey had died on November 3rd. When asked to give his thoughts on what had happened, Winky credited his grandmother for everything he had accomplished during his boxing career, in which he primarily stated that he wouldn't have been world champion if it wasn't for his grandmother. Now, after the new year 2011, Wright came out and gave his side and strategies to the super fight between Shane Mosley and Manny Pacquiao. During the interview, he also stated that he'd be coming back to fight on April 9th on the undercard of Marquez Morales against Matthew Macklin, right? Now, although it was not a title fight, both fighters had hopes that with the win over each other, they would have a shot at the middleweight championship, held by Sergio Martinez at 160 pounds. Once again, weeks before the pay-per-view, the fight had to be canceled due to an injury to Winky's right hand. So yeah, he started to have a little hard luck now. That's the signal it's time to get on up out of there, Winky. Now, shortly after the showdown between Bernard Hopkins and Chad Dawson was made, it was stated that Dawson would not be working with trainer Emmanuel Stewart, and instead would work with his previous trainer, John Scully. Now, Winky, being a good friend of Dawson's, offered to help him on his upcoming fight while getting him into physical shape. He stated in a brief, short interview, "No, I'm not a trainer, and I'm not training Dawson. The fighting part of my career is not even over yet. Why would I want to start training? I'm just there to give advice and pointers to a friend, right? Help him prepare for Hopkins and his dirty tactic." Yeah, B-Hop was kind of dirty. One picture had Winky in a headlock. Now, Hopkins is Winky talking. He said Hopkins is a dirty fighter. In an October interview, Winky stated that he will once again be coming back, stating, "The junior middleweight division is full of people that call themselves champions, but they ain't fought nobody. I'm coming back to take what's rightfully mine." He also stated that he made a mistake with just coming back and taking on a fighter like Paul Williams. He confirmed that he's going to take a couple of tune-up fights, hoping to grab one by December. Yeah, he came back out of his last little layoff. Remember, he was out like 18 months and went in against Paul Williams. He said that was a mistake. He should have took a tune-up fight. So he's taking a tune-up this time, right? And also in the interview, Winky expressed interest in fighting WBA junior middleweight champion Miguel Cotto, WBC junior middleweight champion Canelo Alvarez, and the ring middleweight champion Sergio Martinez in the future. Okay? That would have been interesting, him and Canelo. Yeah. Now, after a 3-year hiatus from boxing, Winky was expected to face Peter Quilling on May 26, 2012, but the date was changed to June 2, 2012 in order to satisfy the California State Athletic Commission. Quilling defeated Winky by a 10-round unanimous decision. Winky announced his retirement shortly after that fight. Yep, he got on up out of there. Now let's look at some of the titles Winky held real quick, and then we're going to get out of here. He had the WBA Unified Junior Middleweight title, WBC Junior Middleweight title, IBF Junior Middleweight title. He had the Ring Magazine titles. He had the regional titles, USBA and NABF, remember? And undisputed, he was undisputed junior middleweight champion for a while. Remember, he was the last undisputed middleweight champion before Jamel took it. Okay? Look at his life outside the ring, and then that's it for Winky. Good time. Life outside the ring for Winky. Right. Okay. Let me take a drink first. There's Winky and Sugar Shane. I don't know who next week is. I'll let you know next week. During the week. Now why this thing won't move? Oh boy. Oh, you know why it won't move? I'm at the top. That's a good reason for it not to move, because I'm all the way up at the top. But life outside the ring for Winky. Now, Winky has appeared in music videos for Busta Rhymes, Touch It Remix, 50 Cent's Out of Control Remix, Jamie Foxx's DJ Play Love song, and Two Pistols' She Got It. He also appeared briefly in the cult hit State Property 2, along with Dame Dash and Beanie Siegel. I don't know nothing about these rappers. Now, Wright has previously entered into ventures and endorsements with brands such as Reebok, Vitamin Water, Rockaware, State Property, and 2 times Men's Underwear, among many others. Now, though these partnerships Wright has appeared in television commercials, and ad campaigns around New York City and in men's fitness, Men's Health, and Vibe Vixen magazines. He currently owns an independent record label, Pound for Pound Records, also based in St. Petersburg, Florida. The label consists of talent roster which covers genres of music, from rock and roll to hip hop. Now, Winky now has his own promotional company called Winky Promotion. He married Saquana Barney on August 1st, 2009. Winky also participates in charity events, in which he also has his own charity event called WRIGHT Foundation, which gives him the opportunity to give back to the community. Okay? He currently resides in his hometown of St. Petersburg, Florida. And there you have it, the life and career of Ronald Winky Wright. Okay? Ronald Winky Wright. Okay, let's do this. Let's look at brief history of boxing in Mexico and Puerto Rico. Then we're gonna get some late time because it's 322. 322, right? Is it 322 or 222? I've only been on here 20 minutes. Well, we still got a whole hour and a half to go. Damn. I know it's 322. It's Friday. Okay, let's look at a brief history of boxing in Mexico and Puerto Rico. Then we're gonna get the link in there. We can chop it up, chop it down, or chop it all around. Then we're going to chop it, okay? Now let's see. Mexico first, just briefly. It's gonna take like about 5 minutes. We had a link in there about 2:30-ish. Appreciate everybody coming by today. Supporting your friendly neighborhood box historian. You know, coming to a neighborhood near you soon too. God damn, a kick. You come in right, man. How you spell boxing? Boxing. Yeah. Look, I'm getting ready to just drop the damn link, man. This working right. One more time. Yeah, I got boots, but it's going to be a very close fight, man. Will I be surprised if Stanley Ono wins it? Hell no. Very capable of taking the win in this one. Okay, here we go. Now, boxing in Mexico has a rich history dating back to at least the late 19th century, where it gained popularity amidst the Mexican Revolution and after with the Mexican government using it to project an image of stability. Now, the sport evolved with a focus on fighters from humble backgrounds, symbolizing resilience and a distinct Mexican style emerged, blending raw power with technical brilliance. Now, in the late 19th century, boxing existed in Mexico initially viewed as a form of moral degradation and practiced in secret. Then in the 1890s, illicit fights continued, often attended by foreign expatriates. 1894, dictator Porfirio Diaz's approval brought boxing into the public eye. The 1910s, the Mexican Revolution led to a surge in boxing popularity. 1920s, the government promoted major fights, including at Mexico City's Fronton Nacional, to bolster the image. The early 1920s, amateur boxing began in port cities like Tampico with makeshift rings and napkin-wrapped gloves. 1921, the first Mexican Boxing Commission was formed in Tampico to add some regulation to the sport. Then in the 1930s, the golden age of Mexican boxing began, with Mexico City becoming a hub for talent. Post-revolution, boxing became a symbol of Mexican strength, resilience, and national pride, particularly among lower-class citizens. In the 1960s, fighters like Salvador Sanchez and Julio Cesar Chavez added finesse to the tradition of Mexico. So that's kind of early for them. Late 1960s, the World Boxing Council was resurrected in Mexico City to challenge the U.S.-centric power structure of boxing. Then the modern era and continued influence into the 1970s. Ruben Olivares, a four-time world champion, embraced an alternate masculine identity and advocated for gender equality in boxing, according to scholar works. And then modern day, fighters like Canelo Alvarez and Triple G continue to embody the Mexican style, known for its close-range combat, relentless pressure, and body shots. Yeah, they always say Triple G's not Mexican, but he fought that style. And global impact. Mexico has a strong presence in the international boxing scene with numerous world champions. Okay, let's get a quick look at history of boxing in Puerto Rico. Okay. It did Mexico. Hope y'all enjoyed that at the beginning of the Mexico-Puerto Rico rivalry. Started in 1934. Sixto Escobar, the first Mexican world champion, got his title in that fight against Baby Casanova from Mexico. That's what started it. Yep, 1934. And the most recent fight in it was just 2 weeks ago. Collazo against Cano. Collazo won. I forgot where it was from, Mexico or Puerto Rico. Yeah, the most recent entry in the Mexico-Puerto Rico rivalry was just 2 weeks ago. And Puerto Rico leads it in championship fights 86-73. Now, Puerto Rico has a rich boxing history also, producing numerous world champions and boasting a high number of champions per capita. Notable fighters include Carlos Ortiz, Wilfredo Gomez, Hector Camacho, Felix Trinidad, Miguel Cotto, and Edwin Rosario. Now, the early history and legalization. Boxing was introduced and practiced clandestinely in Puerto Rico during the Spanish colonial period, with fights organized among plantation workers. It was officially legalized in 1927 by Governor Horace Mann Towner, following a proposal by Puerto Rican legislator Lorenzo Cabales Gondia. Now, Olympic success. Okay, boxing has been a successful sport for Puerto Rico in the Olympics, with 6 medals, including 1 silver and 5 bronze. The first Olympic medal for Puerto Rico was won by Juan Venegas in 1948. Notable champions. Carlos Ortiz, a top lightweight champion of the 1960s, considered among the best Puerto Rican boxers of all time. Yeah, I changed from Wilfredo Gomez. It's Carlos Ortiz. It's my top Puerto Rican fighter. Gomez is number 2. Wilfredo Gomez emerged in the late 1970s as one of the great pound-for-pound punchers in boxing history. Hector Camacho, a flashy multi-division world champion known for his showmanship and talent. And part of his legacy is the skirt. He started that. Felix Trinidad, one of boxing's brightest superstars in the 1990s and 2000s, inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 2014. Miguel Cotto, a celebrated and successful fighter known for his all-action style and body punching. Wilfred Benitez, the youngest boxing champion in the history of the sport, winning 3 world titles, in three different weight classes, winning his first at 17 years of age. Sixto Escobar, Puerto Rico's first world champion ever, a 2-time undisputed bantamweight world champion. Jose Torres, held the world light heavyweight boxing title from 1965 to 1966. And let's get to the link. Link time. Okay. Let's see. Somebody put the instructions in the chat. How do you drop the link? I forgot. Let's see if I remember. Very interesting. Okay, let's get this link in and stop playing. Let's see. I gotta invite y'all, right? First. I guess I'll invite a couple of people up here. Boy. Man, turn the light on, man. Shit, I'm damn near into the chat. Oh my goodness. Okay, I gotta invite y'all. Right? See, they done changed the damn screen. Invite guests. Yes, I put invite, then of course I want to invite the guests, dummy. Damn, you asking these stupid questions. I put invite guests. Do you want to invite guests? Why would I put invite guests? Damn, this technology, man. I remember back in the old days, you call places and talk to people. Now you call to get information on stuff. You talk to a machine. If you want this department, put 1. Then if you want that department, put 6. Now put 8. You got to go through like 10 different prompts before you even get started. It's crazy, man. I be cursing recordings out all the time. Yeah. Okay. All right. It's coming. I gotta move this thing closer. Okay. One day I'm gonna turn the music off and just gonna sing the whole show, man. Y'all will love my voice. I think we'll do that Monday. Nobody will be in here Monday. Oh, let me stop playing. Here comes the link. Bing. All right. There it is. We got Ray Patterson straight out of New Jersey in here. Al Booker going to the fight tomorrow. And McQueen going too. Wonder if they're going to run into each other up there. Going to be a great fight, though. I can't wait to see it. It's intriguing because you just got to see how this thing play out, man. I got a couple of different scenarios, but I just can't wait to see how it plays out, man, because it's very interesting, intriguing, very intriguing matchup. These two, I can see either fighter winning. I'm leaning Boots, but man, this is going to be a good one. I got it going the distance. Both guys have great power, but both guys also have very good chins on them too. Both got good beards, So man, and it's tomorrow. I guess what the weigh-in is today, right? Have they had it yet? Yeah, the weigh-in is today. Yeah, it's still Friday. It's not Saturday yet, is it? And you got Tank and Lamont Roach on the schedule again. Got some good stuff coming up, man. Ryan and Rolly. They said Ryan and Devin again, but my question is, what if Rolly wins? I don't think he will, but what if Rolly wins? Does that mess up Ryan and Devin rematch? So yeah, very interesting. Boxing is very interesting at this time. Let me see if they still got me on 6 likes. Yeah, they still got me on 6 likes, man. I give myself 6. None of y'all hit the like, man. Man. Mm, mm, mm. YouTube plays games. I know Al Booger hit it. Damn. At least 7. Al Booger didn't even hit the like, man. Wow. I'm crushed. Man. Wow. Let me see. I guess we gotta go to another backup plan. We got 25 minutes. 22 minutes. Let's see. Yeah, I knew Winky wasn't gonna be all that long. And boxing in the States next week is Utah. Right. And then I think we're finally gonna do Vitaly. Yeah, we did Vladimir. Vitaly is the oldest, right? Did the youngest Klitschko first. Yeah. So Vitaly is tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see. I cut short the history. Yeah, those were some good fights, though. Yeah, there's a few other good ones too. Now is Mexico? Oh shoot, not that. Is Mexico versus Puerto Rico the greatest rivalry? I think it is, especially between two countries. I can't think of any other two countries that rival each other more than that one. Mm-mm. None. Oh no, that's too small. I can't read that. I'll go blind. What is this all about? I think I found something. Oh, okay. Yes, Friday. We're going to be back next week with another big week of boxing history. Yeah, Utah and then Vitaly Klitschko next week as the profile. Ranking to Mexico versus Puerto Rico boxing rivalry. Oh no, that's yeah. Now Mexico versus Puerto Rico, since we on that today. That's the most heated rivalry in all of boxing. And maybe even the most celebrated rivalry in all of sports. Even better than that Baltimore Ravens versus Pittsburgh Steelers in football. That's a good one. Yep. These are just some more fights that they had in the series. I picked out the best 15, but there were others. Remember, it started in 1934 with Sixto Escobar and Baby Casanova. That's when Sixto Escobar became the first ever Puerto Rican champion, remember? In 1934. Now they're saying the biggest, most iconic fight in the rivalry was Salvador Sanchez and Wilfredo Gomez, and I think it was '82. Gomez had came up from 122 to challenge Sanchez at 126, and then he went back down. But that was incredible when Gomez challenged the Mexican Carlos Zarate. Those two guys had 73 combined fights between them, and were 72-0 with one draw. No, 73-0. Had 74 fights between them. 73-0 with one draw, and 72 of those fights were knockouts. Between those two guys, in 73 combined fights, only two people had ever went the distance with him. Okay? And the one had ever went the distance with him. And the draw belonged to Gomez, I think. Yeah, that was the only person that ever, two people, only one person went the distance was the draw. 72 of them was knockouts, right? Or something like that. But anyway, 73-0-1 with 72 knockouts. Okay, yeah, that was it. Gomez had one draw. And you know the story about Zarate. Zarate had, I think it was 24 straight knockouts out of the gate in his career, right? Then he had a decision, okay, for his 25th fight. Then he had 27 more straight knockouts. Okay. Made it 50, I think it was 53-0 with 51 knockouts. That was incredible. That was incredible, wasn't it? He was getting them up out of there, T-Hill. What's happening?
What's up with you, guys?
Oh, not too much. I was just talking about that famous rivalry. That's like the biggest rivalry in all of sports, you know?
Yeah,
I can't think of nothing no bigger. Not just boxing, sports, period. Mexico versus Puerto Rico.
yeah. It's a lot of love, not too much love lost between those two factions with boxing and with regards to anything.
Yeah,
A lot of pride on the line.
that's so true. Yeah. What's up with you today? Going into the
And
weekend.
out running errands and trying to deal with life as best we can.
That's
You already
right.
know how that go.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. Yeah. Ready for tomorrow? Who you got? We right up on it.
Oh, in that fight, I got
Yeah.
boots all day.
Okay.
I'll say it like this, and like I said, I've discussed it with you numerous times, and
Mm-hmm.
we've broke down film regarding boots. I think the
Yeah.
film does show that, like all things, we are a work in progress, and he still got work he has to do.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said before, when you're tired or you're fatigued and you're trying to give yourself the best effort and energy and execution you can, unless you're extremely disciplined, it's kind of hard to battle through that fatigue, to break form, to break courage, and all that other stuff. So, like, it sets in, and for some are easier to deal with than others when it comes to fatigue, and how you still stay at the ability to give your best with what you're doing. I think that it's even worse when it's mental, because that's the thing that really tears you down. The
Yeah, man.
physical body is falling, but you can still push through. Case in point, there are stories where parents have their kids underneath cars, and they got to get that car off of them, and then they get a jolt of energy to lift the car up and get the kid up out of there. There's
Yeah.
real, actual live stories to that, because as it's been studied, we only use like anywhere from 10 to 25% of our capacity on our brain. But if you can able to channel more, then you can actually channel more of, I guess, the things that it's connected to.
I got a personal experience. Let me tell you this story. I was like in my 20s one time. I was in this sub shop in West Baltimore, right? And some gunshots was right outside the door, and the people, I guess it was Chinese people in the back that was serving me and had the door locked to get in the back. I was so scared, man. I hit that door with my shoulder and broke it in.
Yeah,
And went back there. I could have
yeah,
never did that, man. But when those gunshots was right outside that door,
yeah.
and I
That
went to open
adrenaline
the
kick
door and
in.
that back there, boom! I hit it with my shoulder. That thing opened, man.
Yeah.
That's
So
what you
just
talking about.
imagine. Just
Yeah,
imagine the opposite though. When your mind's totally not there or totally in it, or you
yeah.
don't have that passion for it like you should. I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times in those fights after the tank fight. Now the tank fight, I think he was trying to work himself up to be the star of that card to outperform Tank. That
Mm-hmm.
he tried his hardest
Oh
to
yeah,
to give the crowd what they came to see. That he didn't
that one.
recognize that he's in there with a very good boxer who is definitely trying not to be anybody's meme or anybody's highlight. And he was out there putting on a masterclass with footwork.
Yes, he was.
And he didn't do what he needed to do to cut off the ring and to corral his opponent, and therefore it looked a certain way. Now he won dang
Yeah.
near all of the rounds, but I
Mm-hmm.
think he did win every single round. But
Yeah, I think so too.
it just didn't look a certain way. And ever since then, he hasn't been getting the fights that he is craved. He wanted the Errol Spence fight. He wanted the Bud Crawford fight. And he wanted some fights that would give him another belt, another title. Well, this is that fight. This fight right here is what he's been posturing himself in his career for. So, it is something that would, quote unquote, motivate him. Because now with this, he gains something that, he never had before, another title. So I
You,
think the motivation is there. I think the fire is there. I think the passion will be there.
it
I
should be.
know he has an opponent that's in the same vein, like looking to make his mark and been dying for a shot to unify and hasn't been getting it. So therefore you have that along into the mix. That's a great fight. That being the case, I still believe Boots' talent, Boots' athletic prowess, and Boots' desire will win out over a very extreme, technically sound fighter in Stanionis, who has also.
Decision, T-Hill? Decision?
I think knockout.
Knockout? Okay.
I think knockout.
Like 8, 9, wear him down type thing.
I don't think maybe after 9. Like I think I think you'll see what you saw in the Roman Villa. I think he will.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if it will be knockout, like he knocked him down and he couldn't get up, but it might be stoppage because it's just becoming too much.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But it's going to be like after attrition has set in.
Right. That's how I figure. If he stops, I figure it'll be like that. Yeah.
But I think until then, just like that Villa fight, it's going to be a heck of a fight.
Yes, fan friendly. I'm looking for that, man. It's going to be a lot of exchanges.
And I believe that Montes, he's coming to win that fight. And he'll be in that ring to win that fight. And he will get his stuff
huge
up.
for him, T-Hill. If he come out there with a win, woo.
Absolutely huge. And it's verification for him too, because a lot of people say, they don't really believe in him.
And come to Boots' backyard and do it too. Yeah. That would be huge for Stanionis.
And like Barrios has been like slated as like somebody who isn't as good as people say he is or what we've seen. And it's just unfortunate. Like some people will get tags like that because who they're aligned with. Like
Define On, he said the other day, he been in some tough with like Tank and Thurman,
Yeah.
When was the last time Barrios fight? I can't remember.
Well, it was that what's his name?
Well, since Thurman, I know he fought since then.
No. It was like I want to say 6 months ago, 7 months ago. It was what's his name? Not Rojas.
I remember him fighting last year. Yeah, I can't remember who it was though. Yeah.
A fighter by the same name fights at the 54 division too. What's his name? Ramos.
Oh, yeah.
Ramos.
Yeah, Ramos. That's who it was. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, Ramos.
Yeah.
So I think that in that he fought a great fight. I thought he actually won the fight. I know they got escorted a draw, but I thought he won
Yeah,
the fight. He did get hit a couple of times, and Ramos is somebody that packs a serious punch.
yeah.
But
Barrios gets hit,
you
but
know, he's
he
gonna always be applied to Tank, and Tank is always gonna be applied as overrated. So every time anybody Tank fight, they really not as good as they are, and that's unfortunate.
the man is Barrios is a world champion.
I know, but they don't put respect on that. And plus, I don't know if it was one in the ring against another champion. So he's really
Yeah, no, yeah, it was.
he's really
Yeah, he
classified a
didn't.
belt holder until he actually, by
Right.
most people's standards, fights
Yeah,
somebody that's
right.
of
Yeah,
worth.
all of them. Yeah, Norman is the only one that won his in the ring. Stanionis got his the same way like Boots and Barrios, right?
Yeah.
Norman is the only one that got it in the ring so far. But this will solve that tomorrow. Whoever wins this fight, you know.
Well, yeah, and it's step one to getting the unification. Undisputed. Because
Right.
if Barrios now, I wanna bear in mind that Barrios is recovering from issues outside the ring.
Okay.
Yeah, he had a little quarrel with some people outside the ring
Yeah.
regarding who he's with, and he's
Yeah.
got to mend up from that.
That's important. But you got to be right mentally when you go in that ring, man. You know.
Exactly. Well, he got to be right mentally and physically because there
Right.
was an altercation.
Both sides,
Um,
you got to be right. So you got stuff going on outside. He doing the right thing, you know. Get it together first before you jump back in there, you know. Yeah. He ain't got nothing
yeah,
scheduled or anything.
absolutely.
Burial
You said
stuff.
what? You said
Burials
what?
don't have nothing scheduled or anything.
Oh no. Well, for me, I think the fight. Well, he needs to take a fight, but then I think the fight he should make
Mm-hmm.
would be the fight with I'm not Sims. I'm sorry, Norman.
Oh yeah, that would be a good one.
I think that would be the fight to make if I
Mhm.
were there, because I gotta validate myself, and like I say, being attached to Tank, he's always gonna be devalued, and he got to get some value to himself. So beating him would bring a little bit of value. Now the thing about it is, if he does somehow beat him, then that means they're just going to devalue the win over him, and they're going to devalue your boy as a whole, like saying he really was never that good. Because at all times, it's to push a propaganda or a narrative. But the thing is, man, these people get in the ring, and it's not easy to get in the ring.
No. Hey, Al Booker said, "What you talking about on the burial situation?"
Barrios, if you don't know, Barrios is in a relationship with the Figueroa's sister,
Oh, I didn't know that.
Omar and Brandon. And something happened between them, and I guess there was some liquor involved, allegedly. And a little melee broke out, in which my man Barrios walked away with some injuries.
Okay.
He got to heal up for them.
Damn.
Then he got to get back in training shape. So,
damn, Barrios, you get paid for fighting, man.
I have it on good authority from somebody that's close to the camp and lives out that way, close to that gym, that this is what transpired, and that's why you haven't heard from him.
Yeah. Damn. I did not know that. What's up, you fine, Arnie?
How you guys doing? Can you hear me good?
Yeah, you loud and clear.
Awesome. Yeah, I heard you say about Carlos Ortiz, and and that's one guy that quite a few people that I've spoken here from the old guard, so to speak, they have him as the actual GOAT,
Yeah, I did
Definitely.
too. Yeah, I had forgot about him when I said Gomez, but then I remembered Carlos Ortiz. Yeah, I got him as the GOAT, man, for Puerto Rico for sure. Yeah.
You have a specific fight that you recommend to me of him?
Ortiz?
Yeah.
Let's see. Him and looking it up right now. Tell you in 1 second. It was him. I think Lupe Pintor. He fought.
Okay.
Him and Lupe Pintor is another one too. That one. or Gomez. He fought no. He fought the guy from Mexico. I can't think of who it was. But yeah, him and Pintor. He fought Pintor. Lupe Pintor was a
Okay.
good one. Yeah, check that
How
one
you
out.
doing, T Hill? You know, I got the exact same prediction for the fight that T Hill has. I got Boots by stoppage in round 8 or 9.
Okay.
I'm gonna go on a
You
limb.
said you got what
I
now?
want. I got the same prediction you got for the Boots stoppage
Oh yeah, for
round
the book.
eight or
Oh,
nine.
okay.
Mm,
I want him to show out. You know, I feel like this could be Boots like arrive, like
okay.
I have arrived type of opportunity. You know.
Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
one thing's for certain, he's gonna be in the wheelhouse to look good because Stanionis ain't backing down.
No. Ain't no backing down in him,
yep.
man. Neither one of them, really. Neither of
Well,
them.
we know Boots ain't gonna back down, but Stanionis ain't running. He coming to fight.
He'll be right there.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he fully believes in his skill and his ability.
I call it fan friendly because it's not gonna be a fight where you're gonna have to, either one of them gonna have to go find the other. They're gonna both be right
Yeah,
there.
punches are gonna be letting go. Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, Define. I am going to continue.
They're both undefeated though, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Both
Awesome.
power, both got good chins. So hmm,
Oh
it's
yeah.
intriguing. Very interesting. Then it's
I
tomorrow.
like Boots.
Hmm.
Yep. Where are they fighting?
Atlantic City.
I want to say Atlantic
What was
City.
you gonna say? He said you like boots. And then what was you what about to say? You find on it?
Yeah, no, like I feel like Boots because when I started watching Boots,
Hmm.
honestly, I thought that he was gonna be the next big thing, and I just don't feel like he's had the opportunity to show that yet. You know,
Yeah.
like um, the two fights against Karen Chukatsi and the Royman Villa fight was awesome, but that was honestly, Royman Villa spoiled the tea because I think it was planned to be Rashidi Ellis against him, right? And then Royman Villa beat Rashidi Ellis
Hmm.
and got in there. But Royman Villa is the type of fighter that's tailor made for him, you know? Like,
Yeah. You're right.
um, not.
Yeah.
And what was the other in that card? There's an interesting fight also, aside from the main event. Oh my goodness, what's the fight? I'm not gonna remember now, but there's another fight that I'm really looking at in that card. Um, also, oh man, you were saying something about when you were speaking about Mexico, Puerto Rico. You know,
Hmm.
honestly, I think you're right as far as heated and everything, but there's a couple of Mexico rivalries in boxing that I think are
Yeah.
heavily underrated, and that's Cuba and Japan.
Yeah. You mean Cuba and Mexico and Japan versus Mexico?
Exactly.
Okay.
I think those rivalries, not to say that they're at the level necessarily of the Mexico Puerto Rico, but I think
Yeah.
Mexico versus Cuba and Mexico versus Japan are two rivalries that are really like
Mhm.
not
Yeah.
not not mentioned enough in my opinion. You know.
You know what the thing is? It's just been so many more Mexico versus Puerto Rico fights. That's why
Yes,
that's so noticeable. You know
absolutely,
what I mean? Yeah.
absolutely. Um,
Yeah.
but so which fight are you guys most looking forward to aside from the one from tomorrow?
Coming up this year, you mean?
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to Tank and Lamont Roach too. See how that goes. The rematch.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm always
To be
looking forward
honest,
to a tank. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
oh no, you go. I'm sorry, you go.
No, I was just gonna be saying that I'm always looking forward to a tank fight. However,
Mhm.
if there
Let's.
is legs to that Nakatani Inoue fight, I'm really looking forward to that
Oh
fight.
yeah. Forgot about that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, bro. That's the Super Bowl of Japan, bro. That.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, bro. Junto's got a Junto Nakatani's got a missile for a left hand, bro.
Yeah, that's a big
That's a
one, man. Yeah.
dangerous fight, bro. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And super,
Wow.
super talented and extremely fast, as is, you
Mm.
know, Inoue. So it should be a wonderful fight.
Yeah.
Should be a
Yeah.
wonderful fight. Scooter versus Raymond Ford. I'm looking forward.
Is that on the schedule? Them two? Or they just talking? Or
I don't think they agreed in principle to the fight.
okay, that would be good.
So I'm thinking that's coming along too. But
That'd
the
be at 130,
the
right?
fights, I'm
130.
gonna be honest with you. The fights that I really truly want to see, besides that, in a way, and
Mm.
well, I think Espinoza is scheduled to fight somebody as well too. I forgot who it was,
Okay.
and I would
Yeah.
like to see Espinoza back in the ring because even though he won the
Yeah.
second time versus Diaz,
Yeah.
a lot of that had to do with the fact that he caught that elbow.
I wanted to see a
Oh
rematch from
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah. That's for
Yeah, I
sure.
wanted to see a rematch from that. Yeah. The way that ended and everything,
Yeah, I think that should have been a disqualify. I mean, not a
Yeah.
disqualification, but
He
it
was
should have
seeing
been a
double. He
no
couldn't
contest.
continue like that, man. He said he was seeing double vision and everything. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should have been no contest because it was caused
Yeah.
by elbow. That being the case,
Right.
man, if it were me, and then I let Define Iron take over. But I would rather see 5 fights, 6 fights to be in general. One of them,
Mm.
the fight I truly want to see is Canelo versus Benavidez. That fight
Yeah.
I want to see more than any other fight. After that, Tank versus Shakur. Then I want to see Tank versus Devin. Then I want to see Tank versus T.O. Then I want to see Tank versus Keyshawn. I want to see Tank in the ring with everybody that he's supposedly ducking or cannot beat because he doesn't have skills. And I want to see them prove to me that what I'm seeing ain't real. Because
You
that's
know
what
what I would like
everybody
to
seems
see?
to say.
I would like to
That's
see
good.
set everybody up. Bud and Earl at 154. So Bud can do it to him again and everybody can just stop with that dehydrated
I
and
don't
all
think
that.
we ever see Spence. I
That's what I would like to see.
don't think we ever see Spence in the ring again, though, Cass.
You don't
Because
think
if so,
so?
he would have
Yeah, I
already
know.
been in the ring.
Yeah. That's just wishful thinking.
I know. I hear
I
you. I
agree
would
with
love
you.
to see that as well too.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get it though. Nah, I don't think. What about you, Define
Honest,
Arnie? What was yours?
I
Would you
want to
like
see Tank. I'm right there with you, T Hill, as far as the Tank fights and obviously the Canelo Benavides. But the Tank Loma is the one that I want to see first and
Yeah.
foremost
Yeah.
because,
That one too,
well,
yeah.
first of all, I've always wanted to see that fight. Honestly, ever since they were talking about it, where Tank wasn't even Tank yet,
Years ago, yeah.
when Loma was, the AA side and all that. So,
Right.
ever since that happened, I always wanted to see that fight, and also obviously Oma doesn't have that much time left. But I want to
Yeah.
see Bivol versus Benavides 3, and I
Yeah.
want to see Bivol versus Viterbiev 3,
Yeah, me
and I
too.
want to see Bivol versus Benavides also,
I
bro.
was thinking that one too, yeah. B-ball and
Oh
Benavidez. Both of
man.
those two.
And
Both of those.
And let me
Yeah.
let me throw another one out there: Zurdo versus Opetaya, bro. I'm growing more and more interested in that fight for some reason. I think that's gonna be a hell of a fight, bro.
Really? Those
Honestly,
two?
What's that? What did you say?
Zerto and Apataya, right?
Zurdo versus Opetaya.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would
Zurdo
pick
Ramirez.
Apataya in that one. Who would you pick
I
in
got
that one?
Opetaya also, but Zurdo is dangerous, bro.
Yeah.
Zurdo is difficult.
I think he's a little bit better at cruiserweight than he was at 160, 75. I can't really put my hand on it, but I think so.
Well, if we're talking
Yeah,
heavyweight, man, I mean, if your boy is still fighting, I want to see the rematch between Triple D and Usyk. I would like to see Usyk versus Kyle. I would love to
Who
see.
should be higher?
I'm going to this.
Yeah. Is Usyk still
honestly,
on?
I also would like to see, before you say what you want to say, I also like to see Opataya versus Caballero too. I think that would be a great fight. I think Opataya is big enough to move up to that division and be well enough to handle at least a smaller heavyweight. Now, I don't know about a bigger heavyweight, but definitely a smaller heavyweight. And then I'll say this regarding the Tank fight. You said you've been wanting to see that fight with Loma. I would love to see that fight with Loma because I still believe that Loma, to me, is top 3 still in skill set
Me
in
too.
boxing.
Me too.
You can't
Especially
tell
at
me that,
lightweight.
but the thing
Loma's
what it
tank.
is, oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No,
Go
go ahead,
ahead.
Tim. I was just agreeing with you. That's all.
No. But the thing is, like, if it was where Tank and Tank were to win the fight and he would win it rather impressively, they would say that, it's only because he aged him out and Loma's old. You know what I'm saying? And I want Loma to be healthy. But I will say
Yeah.
this: you also made mention of this. You said that back then you wanted to see it when everybody was talking about possibly that fight. The thing about Tank then and the Tank now, while I don't believe Tank then was better than Tank now, I believe his desire to prove himself was greater. So he did a lot more of the things that he was able to do in the ring because you know what? I'm gonna show you that I'm that guy.
Right.
I think that I hope that this fight that he just had with Roach brought that same Tank back out where I got to show Mickey Freakies who I am.
That is a great point.
And what I really got. That's what I'm hoping for. And I want to see him in the ring with all the people who Tank can't beat because they're not slow, flat-footed fighters. That's what I really want. Now, I'll digress. I'll go on mute now.
That was the same thing I was hoping that last fight would bring that hunger back. You know what I mean? In Tank. After this last fight with Roach, put him back mindset where he was at, you know. It looked like he lost.
Sometimes you need that. You need that wake up call, so to speak.
Yeah.
Sometimes to get that back for sure. So
Mm-hmm.
because I can tell. I mean, I think Tank is laser focused, bro. Like I haven't heard too much of Tank since that fight. So maybe that is hopefully that is the case because Tank got all the tools, bro. Honestly, so. But I don't mind the Usyk Caballero fight, but I don't know if I don't like the Dubois Usyk. I think Dubois gotta see Parker first, honestly, bro.
You know, if I was Usyk, what I would do if I was Usyk, coming off of the undisputed and beating Fury twice, I would retire, man.
Retire. I said the same thing.
I'm just saying that's what I would do. Go out just like on top, just like this, man. But he probably won't. You know, he got that fight in him, you know. But if I was him, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
But he's a fighter, so he'll probably come back, you know. Yeah. But you know what, Define? I got another two. We was talking about Ortiz versus Sugar Ramos or Flash Day. Those were two good ones too. He fought Day twice. Yeah.
I'm gonna check those out for sure. I appreciate it.
60s. He was hell on wheels in the 60s, man. Yeah. That was his time. But what else y'all got? We're gonna get ready to get on out of here. But enjoy it thoroughly.
Ray Ford is fighting, right? Ray Ford is fighting tomorrow, isn't he?
Yeah. Is this his first fight at 130? Yeah, he's on the card. Because remember, he lost to Nick Ball at 126. This is first fight.
I honestly don't believe he lost that fight. Like when Define Irony was talking about how Villa threw a wrench in that. I don't think Villa won that fight as well too. And I think he was awarded a decision, but to me, you can't win 4 rounds and then win a fight. I'm sorry. And the only way you can really win 4 rounds and win a fight is if in those 4 rounds you done knocked the man down like 2 to 3 times.
Now, I had picked Ball to win it, but I thought Ford pulled it out. But you can't really be mad because it was a real.
It was a close fight. No, it was a close fight. So I mean, if you say he won, I wouldn't be mad at it.
Yeah,
it was one of those type fights, but I just didn't think that he won. I thought that with him being a champion, he didn't do enough to take the belt from the champion. He did enough to be competitive in the ring with the champion, but not to take the belt from the champion. You got to make sure the champion looks like he should not hold the belt. That's why he's a champion, and he should be able to hold the belt. If he's not holding the belt the way that a champion should, then you should make sure that you let the world know he don't deserve this belt. This belt belongs with me. And I don't believe that Ball did that in the ring.
I thought Ford
You know,
stayed at 126 one fight too long too.
he
He should have
definitely
left.
did.
He should have left the
He definitely
division at
did.
30.
But
Yeah.
that's the thing. A lot of these fighters that staying in classes that they should not be fighting in.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's taking a toll on their ability to
Yep.
navigate the class above them.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you know, like I say, man, that last look from Boots, that wasn't a good look, bro. That wasn't a very good weight cut.
Mm-mm.
How many more fights do you honestly have in the division when you're
Not many.
looking like that?
Not many. Mm-mm.
So,
Like
like,
you were saying the other day, I don't think he got enough to get no undisputed. Remember you were saying that the other day. I agree with that. He gonna be that. He don't have that many fights left in him, to get
the only
undisputed.
way you get undisputed to me with Boots is if he takes care of Stanionis and they make that Barrios
Right
Norman
away.
fight
Next.
quickly, and then he
Yeah.
gets that fight.
Right.
That's the only way. It has to be in 2 fights. I don't think he
No,
has more than 2 fights
Yeah.
left at the division
no way.
where he's going to be prime or optimal.
Mm-mm.
I honestly don't feel that way. Now, I could be wrong, but when you start looking like he looked, that's not
Mm-hmm.
a good sign.
You want to mess around and get beat? You better go it on up to
Man,
154.
you're going to be depleted.
Yeah,
You're taking too much out the bank
that's right.
to invest in the ring, and it's not.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Man,
It's not
and,
advantageous.
yeah,
You see that
nah,
happening this year?
Say it
to
again,
me,
Defino.
I think we almost halfway in the year.
Yeah.
So if it's
April.
gonna happen, it's gonna happen around September or December.
Mm.
I don't know if Norman is gonna have the other belt or if Barrios is gonna have the other belt by that time. So
Who would you
it's
pick
totally
between Norman and Barrios? That's an interesting question. Norman and Barrios right now. Barrios get his mind and everything back together. Who would you pick between them two? For both of y'all.
I'm still not sold on Norman.
Okay.
You know, that was a fight where the guy hadn't fought since 24, man. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I can't
Yeah.
put a great deal of stock in that fight
Right.
because who's to say that that was him at his best?
That's true.
So, whereas I've seen Barrios in wars and I've seen him perform very well in wars, so I wouldn't believe that he can't perform well. That
Yeah.
being said, man, I mean, Norman does have a very good punch, and he seems like he could take a punch too.
It look like he's
Boxing
getting better
wise,
to me, Theo. Look like he's improving a lot too, fight to fight.
yeah.
What it seemed like. So Barrios come back like Barrios though. I would have to pick Barrios.
Yeah, Barrios is good. Then I would favor him,
Yeah.
but in a very good fight, though. A
Yeah.
very good fight.
What you
I
think
am. I got to start.
between them two? Then we're gonna get on.
I'm gonna go with Norman. Honestly, I
Norman?
think Norman probably knocks him because I just don't think Barrios is the same anymore.
Okay, yeah, that's what
Honestly.
I'm saying. If he comes back like he was, I would pick him, but that would depend on that. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
I look at Barrios kind of like I look at Pitbull Cruz. Like he's been, or maybe Eubank.
Mm-hmm.
He's been on some unnecessary wars,
Yeah,
in my
that's true.
opinion. Like his last fight was on the I think Jake Paul Mike Tyson undercard, if I'm not mistaken. That's when he last
The
fought.
draw? You talking about the
And
draw, right?
yeah, and he gave that fight away, man. Like first 2, 3, 4 rounds, looks like he was gonna just massacre the guy.
Yeah.
And then he took his foot off the gas
Right.
and just let the dude come back into the fight. And I didn't like that. I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
bad
you can't
sign
do that against Norman. Because I think Norman is much better than that guy, And yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Norman probably would stop.
You said with Barrios?
Talking about that last fight. Who was it? I forgot the guy's
I
name.
thought that was a fight in which there was a lot of ebb and flow, and I think there was a point in time where he decided to make it a slugfest instead of a boxing match.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where he was allowing
Yeah.
my man to get his stuff off. Had he not
Yeah.
done that,
Exactly.
I think he would have been able to maintain well control over the match.
Yeah, like Define Arnie was saying, if he would have continued like he started out, he would have been good, But he changed, during
Oh
the fight.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
When
Switched
the
up.
fight started, I was like,
Sometimes,
oh man, Barrios. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
sometimes machismo gets the best of folks.
That's
They let that
especially in
machismo
big
kick
boxing.
in, and then next thing you
Yeah.
know,
Yep.
they're in a whole different fight than what they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Perfect example.
And
Um,
then sometimes it's just the person is just not fully engaged in the fight. And we seen that with my man. What was his name? Lennox Lewis and what's his name?
One.
Oliver McCall.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. You talking about the fight when he broke down?
Yeah, McCall was
Yeah,
totally disengaged in the fight. Had a
he wouldn't
nervous
even fight
breakdown.
Yeah. He wouldn't even fight.
I'm sorry?
Yeah,
No,
I'm
I
saying he
still
was stopped. I don't know nobody knows what happened to him that fight, man. He was actually crying, Remember?
yeah.
And Lewis was teeing off on him, but McCall wouldn't go down though. He got a serious chin on him. Because I remember some of them shots. Lewis was teeing off on him, and he just stood in there and they stopped it. He refused to fight. But look, we're gonna get ready to go, fellas. But I appreciate y'all. To a great
Appreciate you, Kev.
conversation again.
As
You got
always.
anything else before we get out of here?
All right,
Nah,
then,
just
Kaz,
you
man.
guys have a
Always
great weekend, and God bless. Always
Same
a
to
pleasure.
you.
You do the same too. Thanks.
Honey. Same to you. What'd you say, T Hill? Yeah, Boogie said Raymond Ford is the co-main. Okay. Well, everybody is gone. Okay. Well, that's it then. Appreciate everybody that came through today. T Hill just left me. Okay. Terrell Cameron, Jarrell Hattie, Kensaw Love 1, Define Arnie 1, Ray Patterson, P.D. Rican, Al Booger, the Boxing Menu Podcast Plus, D1, Thomas Hill, Mike Masick, Miss Cass. Much appreciation to Thomas Hill and Define Arnie 1 for coming up with that great cook just now. And that's it. It's Friday. I'll see y'all Monday. Okay? Everybody have a great weekend. We're going to have another. Start up some more Boxing History Monday. Because if it's Monday through Friday at 2 p.m., it's the Boxtorian bringing you all that boxing history. Appreciate y'all. See y'all around these streets.